What's going on, guys? This is Deadeye with the Hardcore League, and in this video I'm going to be answering some questions from the competitive community about Battlefield 5. We are lucky enough to be able to go to EA Play and get our hands on Battlefield 5 and record some footage. And in this video we're going to be answering some questions, showing you some footage. That being said, we would like to give a huge shout out to our newest sponsor, Phoenix Elite Network, for sending us to EA Play and allowing us to get this footage. We would not be able to make this video if it wasn't for them. So if you're interested in sponsorship, be sure to swing by the website and check them out. So our first question coming in is from Al Peace and Love, and he's asking about the bullet velocity in Battlefield 5. Now, as I was sniping, I did notice that I didn't have to lead targets quite as much, and the bullet drop wasn't as significant as it is in Battlefield 1 over distance. So just based on that, I would say yes, I think the bullet velocity is a little bit higher in Battlefield 5 than it is in Battlefield 1. Now, I didn't run any tests or anything like that to confirm, but just first impressions, filling out the game, it just feels like they're a tad bit faster, but I don't know that for sure. Our next question is coming in from Crazy Hedge, and he is curious about how much ammo you spawn with whenever you first spawn. And I thought this was going to be an easy question to answer. Turns out it wasn't as easy. So you can see here I'm running support, and I actually have a clip in and I have 2 additional clips, and that's what you spawn in with. But as I was making this video and doing a little research on each class, that is not the case. Not every class spawns in with a clip and 2 additional clips. Every single class except for one does. So the medic, the sniper, and the support spawn in with a full mag and 2 additional mags. And if you look at this graphic I've got right here, you can see the assault doesn't. The assault spawns in with 1 mag and 1 additional mag, whereas the other 3 classes come in with a mag and 2 additional mags. You will also notice that each class has its own bullet count. For example, the sniper only has a total of 20 rounds. The medic has a total of 30 rounds. The assault has 62 rounds, and the support has 90 rounds when you spawn in. So depending on your class, depends on how many bullets you have. And I noticed this when I was sniping, I'd run out of bullets pretty quick because they have the lowest bullet count. So for our next one, I'm going to double up. Sinister Bing and Texas both had questions about vehicles. Sinister Bing asked about ricochets, and Texas asked about vehicle play. So as far as the ricochets go, they now call those a glancing blow. And I actually like those because that means that you can't just spam rockets at a tank and take it out relatively quickly. You've got to plan your shots out whenever you're shooting at a tank. Now, a glancing blow does about 15 damage, where a direct hit does about 36 damage based on what I saw. Now, I didn't get as much time with the assault kit as I would have liked to, but it does come with a rocket launcher and dynamite. And what I really liked about the assault kit and the dynamite is, just like back in Battlefield 4, the C4 sticking to tanks, the dynamite does the exact same thing. It will stick to a tank, it won't just bounce off like it does in Battlefield 1, and it is very, very effective. As for the vehicle gameplay, overall I like the gameplay in the tanks and the planes. Something new they've added in Battlefield 5 is tanks no longer automatically reload their ammo. You have to go back to deployment if you want to reload. Again, this is a pre-alpha build that may change as the game progresses. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed the tanks. One thing that I don't like is they brought back the ability for the tank driver to repair the tank from inside. I think it's more conducive to squad play to have somebody that repairs the tank, to have a designated repair guy. However, I enjoyed the tank. Each tank was a little different. There was one tank where you couldn't rotate the turret. You had to turn the tank in order to line up your shots. But for the most part, I really enjoyed the tanks. They've got some really good weapons and some really good gadgets on them. You know, you've got one that shoots out a little flare that comes down on a parachute to mark targets. You've got the auto repair, and you've got different ammunition that can penetrate walls and take out infantry. As far as the flying goes, I'm not an ace pilot or anything, so when it comes to the turning speeds and things like that, I am not one to be able to gauge those. I'm going to link some videos to both tanks and planes of somebody that did a little better. But just as the tanks don't automatically refill their ammo, planes are the same way. As you saw in the beginning of this, I flew through a circle in the sky. That's how you get more ammo for your planes, is flying through these resupply points in the air. Overall though, I really enjoyed the flying. The plane I'm flying here is the light plane, and it's got 2 different machine guns on it, one a higher caliber, one a lower caliber, and it's got repair and a speed boost, kind of like the attack plane does on Battlefield 1. But again, overall, the vehicle gameplay on both the planes and the tanks felt really smooth, and I enjoyed it. So our next question is from Enjoy Silent. He wants to know how the fortification mechanic in-game looks and how it works. The fortification system is my favorite addition to the new Battlefield 5. I think it is going to change the way teams compete in large-scale Battlefield, and I think it's going to be amazing. Now, you can only fortify in certain places, but there are hundreds of places on the map to fortify. You do get the most benefit from fortifying with the support class, because not only can they lay down sandbags and those big metal crosses that stop tanks, but they can also build ammo resupply stations and health resupply stations that no other kit can. Other kits can fortify, but only the supply or the support kit can build the specialty items like the machine guns and things of that nature. As far as how fortifications look, I think they look amazing. Now, this is a pre-alpha build, and we do know that some animations are kind of placeholders now, and they may change as the game progresses and as it comes out of alpha. But I think it looks pretty awesome right now, and as you can see, there's so many places to fortify. Not to mention, when you do fortify something, you can't really tell what has been fortified and what is pre-existing in the game. So they look extremely natural once the fortification has been fully built and fleshed out. The next question coming in is from Scruffy, and it is a 5-part question. He wants to know how I would compare Battlefield 5 to other Battlefield titles. Is there any word on incursions? Will there be private servers at launch? What's my biggest complaints and praises about the game so far, and how the movement system is compared? Is it more like Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4? So for this one, I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. As far as how Battlefield feels compared to previous titles, I would think that I think it's a little bit of several titles. The resupply on tanks is similar to Battlefield 2. I think the gunplay and the bullet velocity is similar to Battlefield Bad Company 2. I think a lot of the squad play is reminiscent of Battlefield 3. I think that the movement is a mixture of Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1. My first impressions of the game is I'm very impressed with it. I think it feels and plays great, and it's hard to compare the game to just one title, because I feel like EA has really taken the feedback from the community and from previous titles, what worked and what didn't, and have implemented it in Battlefield 5. Unfortunately, the second and third question, incursions and private servers, we cannot answer that at this time. They haven't released any information on incursions or private servers. Now, I do know that EA has been paying a lot more attention to private servers and the communities that use those, not just competitive, but also community events and platoons and teams that use servers. So I'm really hoping that we see private servers come out earlier than we have on any other title. The next one was, what are my biggest complaints and praises on the game? I really only have one complaint, and I mentioned it earlier in the video, and that's tankers being to repair from inside the tank. As far as praises, there is a long list of praises. The fortification system is my favorite addition. I think that's really going to impact competitive play in teams and how the battle plays out during a competitive match. I also absolutely love how players now have to rely on their squad more. The limited ammo, the health regeneration, not going full without a medic. There are so many little nuances in this game that really play to squad cohesion and squad play, and that is probably my favorite thing about it. Not to mention, you know, the movement, the gameplay feels very, very smooth. And so that would be my praises for the game, is almost everything about it, honestly, minus the tankers being able to repair. Again, first impressions, I think the game is going to be absolutely amazing. Again, this is a pre-alpha build, and we may see some changes, maybe for the better, for the worst. Only time will tell on that. And the final question is about the movement in Battlefield 5. Would I compare it to Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4? That's a little bit of a tough one, again, because I believe they have merged the best of both worlds when it comes to the movement. You know, now in Battlefield 5, your players will stumble and things of that nature, which something really cool that I noticed about this is the hitboxes are very on point to the players. If you've got a bead on a player and you're fixing to shoot them and they stumble and their head goes down, your shot is going to miss. Because the hitboxes are so precise on the player models now. But as far as which one does it feel more like, Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4, it's tough. It's tough to answer that, because again, it's a little bit of both. I think you can see some stuff from Battlefield 1, and you can also see some stuff from Battlefield 4. The next question coming in is from Dirty Mike, and it is also a 5-part question. However, I've already answered 3 of those, so I'm going to answer the first and last question. Do the new squad gameplay mechanics slow the game down, and how is map design? So for the first question, do the mechanics slow the gameplay down? Now, in the first hour of playing Battlefield 5, it didn't seem so, because this was the first time anybody had got their hands on Battlefield 5. And everybody was playing it like it was Battlefield 1, and so people were moving around. There wasn't a ton of reviving going on, things of that nature. But as the day progressed and people, you know, started filling out the game better, it did slow down gameplay, because you do have to rely on your squad. You need to hang closer to your squad, and so players were taking more time, making sure that they were in the proper positions, making sure they were helping out their team. And I believe, yes, it did slow gameplay down a little bit. As far as the map design goes, we only got to play on the one map, but just based on the one map that we did get to play, I felt like the map design was really good. There were a lot of different lanes and angles that you can attack and defend from, and adequate amount of cover. And then you add fortifications in there, and that kind of changes the map a little bit. So the map design, in my opinion, was very, very good in the pre-alpha build, and in the one map that we did play. And the last question I'm going to answer in this video is coming in from Rebel Warrior from T-Dow. He says, what game mode is Hardcore League going to focus on for competitive scene, and where is the repair tool? Unfortunately, I can't answer the question on the repair tool. I didn't get as much time as I would have liked in the tanks, and I did not try to repair a tank with the toolbox that every kit has. I don't believe it can repair the tank. I know you can repair from inside the tank as the tanker, but I did not see a repair tool. Again, I don't know if the toolbox that builds fortifications can repair. I'm going to try to look into that. I'm also going to post a link to a tanking video in the description of this video, along with a plane video of somebody that spent a little more time in both of those vehicles. As far as the mode that Hardcore League will be focusing on with the Battlefield 5 and the competitive scene, the Hardcore League is going to do what we've always done. We're going to support large-scale Battlefield. We believe that is the best way to play competitive Battlefield. But whatever they come out with as far as incursions or something similar, we will also support that moving forward. And that is going to do it for the questions from the competitive community. I appreciate everybody watching this video, taking the time to take a look at it. I hope I answered everybody's questions. And just to recap, overall, first impressions, honestly, this is the best Battlefield game that I played. And it being in pre-alpha is even more impressive. It's not fully fleshed out. You know, there's going to be some animations. We weren't able to drag players into cover and things like that in this pre-alpha build. So I'm very excited to see the full game in all its glory, because again, this is probably the best Battlefield that I've played, from gunplay to movement to just the feel of it, the shots, the sound, the look. It is all very, very good. And like I said earlier in the video, I think they've incorporated some of the best attributes from each one of the battlefields into this game. Again, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this video. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will try to get to them as soon as possible. This is Deadeye with a Hardcore League, and hopefully we'll be able to get you guys some more footage as the alpha and the beta comes out.